Hey, Jenny, how are you?
Good, Barbie. How are you?
I'm good. So, hey, I guess you don't have to live in Chicago or New York to be part of this flock camera thing.
No, it's nationwide.
Yeah, and now everybody's talking about it. So I am really glad that you're here because I don't want this episode to be just like another, I don't know, around the country thing when we're dealing with it right here in our backyard. So
hmm
let me start. When did you first become aware of these flock cameras?
About 2 years ago, they were first introduced to me as a board member for or a trustee for our village that we live in.
Okay. And then when did you learn how many of them would be put in?
For the village that we were going in, we were first presented asking for 9, and then we ultimately settled on 6.
Yes, that's I believe that's what we have around us. But
hmm
I also found out that like King County Sheriff has 25 cameras.
hmm
Then South Elgin has 5. So we even have more than South Elgin.
That was a good point that I was gonna bring up to you. South Elgin has a huge population compared to our town and have less than us.
Exactly. I thought that was weird. Then West Dundee hasn't given us a number, neither has East or Carpentersville. But check this out, Pinley Grove has 14.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
they're like everywhere. So
Yeah, in
let's
King
talk about our
County, though,
town, for
King
instance.
County has, in different types of spots. So, for instance, by the jail, they actually have 4 on property by the jail. So they're not necessarily on the streets. Some of their flock cameras are protecting the county government buildings.
Another thing I found interesting is that they say that we're not paying for it, but we really are. Because I believe here in our town, there was a grant given, but car stickers is what went towards those cameras.
Correct. Yes. So yeah, they cost roughly $3,000 to $5,000 a camera, depending on whatever contract you negotiated. They obviously go lower the more you have, they come out of taxpayers' pockets one way or another.
Yeah,
There's no specific grant for them.
yeah, and they don't produce any revenue whatsoever.
They do not produce revenue. No.
Now, were you surprised by how many cameras are already in our area, or that they went with 6?
Um, yeah, so the problem I had originally with these is we have 9 entrances and exits in our town, right? And they wanted all 9. So, although the chief said that he wouldn't be using the cameras properly, we all know technology. How many times have our bank accounts been hacked, our credit cards been hacked, our phones been hacked, our Facebook's been hacked, our Twitter's been hacked, right? We all get hacked all the time. What's to say that this isn't going to get hacked? Not to mention who has access. Maybe a disgruntled employee over at Flock. Maybe another police department has access to it because they're looking for somebody else. We don't know exactly who has access to it. There's no possible way of knowing who has access to it. It's a private company. It's not a government company. Under the Freedom of Information Act, we cannot get flock data. We can get the data from our towns, but not flock data. So if you have 9 cameras at 9 exits, Barbie, that means you cannot go home, come home, go to work, do your daily routine without an AI picking up your patterns. So now people know every day when you're not home, they can break into your house. For me, my big problem was my children stayed home alone. I did not want them to know when I wasn't home and they were because their buses come in and out. There's a
Correct.
bunch of different reasons. Not to mention, we are we have a right of privacy. And when they're getting your license plate or your bus plate every time you come and go, that's a huge problem, and that's an invasion of privacy. And the Fourth Amendment says
That's what I was going to say. The Fourth Amendment. I looked into that. The Fourth Amendment, and there has been issues with it. People have been arrested who have not done anything. That the cameras were off by a number.
so 71% inaccuracy rate for flocks. 71%.
Yeah.
They've read 71% of license plates and reported them to the police wrong. That's a
Yeah,
huge
I know. I read
num-
on that.
29% accuracy rate. If if I only had a 29% rate of winning anything or a positive outcome of anything, I'm not a gambler, but if I only had a 29% rate winning, I would not play. You know what I
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It is complicated because I actually read some stories. You're actually guilty into proven innocent.
Yeah,
So that's a big problem.
they're pulling families over at gunpoint, pulling moms out of cars at gunpoint, thinking that her car's stolen or their one was linked to a murder. Another guy was on a test drive. He was test driving a Range Rover. They pulled him out of a car at gunpoint, because they misread the Range Rover, um, dealer plates, because they got different, numbers up and down,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know, it could easily be scrambled. AI doesn't pick up everything, you know what I mean? So, um, it's the inaccuracy rate and the trauma that they're causing. They are doing more damage than they are good.
I agree. I agree. But I think they're coming regardless. I actually looked at the map. The only state that's not participating is Alaska, but all 49 states are participating.
I kind of hope that there's a movement that they are possibly going away. So, for instance, there was, I believe, 8 or 9 in a town up in Minnesota overnight. All 8 or 9 of it were cut down. They're not the town is not replacing them and canceled their contract. Um, Los Angeles has canceled their contract for all. I think they had like 400 of them. They had canceled their contract. Yeah, they had canceled their contract, are not renewing, and they're in the process of removing all the flock cameras at the moment.
If-
Yeah, if Los Angeles is doing it, I think that we're maybe possibly seeing a movement, not take our data and sell it back to the government.
yeah.
That's a form of treason, I think.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. I was actually hoping that because again, there's criminals everywhere. They were doing it to our car with the convertible, whatever that was called. I'm thinking there's some value to that. Maybe they start shopping them down. It's the only way they're gonna go away, in my opinion.
There's a movement of people doing that, putting stickers over them. I saw a couple on the news yesterday lit on fire. People are people are passionate about this. Think about it. What man wants their wife and kids tracked via AI where who knows who has access to it? That's not right. What
I
man would go to work in the morning, come home at night, leave his wife and kids home during the day when somebody sees his pattern? Seems like they can cause more crimes than they solve.
I agree because they know when your house is empty. They know when you guys are left for vacation or whatnot. I mean, even your neighbor won't be able to help you there.
Right. And there's no way of proving that they used flock camera data to break into your house or to rape your wife or any of that. There's no way of really knowing that. What we can do is speculate, and it's a pretty 29% accuracy rate.
Yeah, that's not
Speculation
good.
can be a higher chance.
And who controls the data? I read that it was locally, your own police department.
Your police
But
chief should be the one controlling it, but the question is, who has access to it? We've had over 60 cops nationwide, be arrested or had disciplinary action. That's only the ones caught nationwide who have used them to stalk exes, people that they're infatuated with, people of their past. One woman out on the East Coast, she was arrested for using it to stalk her boyfriend's ex-wife. Yeah. So it's actually helping people who have access to it stalk other people. So the question is, who does have access to it? Does a rookie cop that's crazy about an ex have access to it? Does it let him know where she is? Who knows?
yeah, the more I read, the more question I had because even where they're located, it's all in the entry. So they know exactly when you're coming, when you're leaving, when your house is, or like you said, when your kids are home alone too, because obviously we see the bus go around the town coming in and out. So
Yeah.
it's really alarming.
Well, they help solve less than 4% of crimes that flock cameras are involved in. Less than 4% is the success rate that they have helped. Okay, and they're not even involved in all crimes, right? So, under 4%, the flock cameras are being solved. 71% inaccuracy rate. So that means more people are getting traumatized by these flock cameras than are actually having crimes solved. It's been a small handful of crimes nationwide where I think there was one in Florida recently where they did help find a child that was being sex trafficked. There's different there some good has come out of it, but at what expense?
Okay, so what do you other than cutting them down, which I don't advise anybody to do, but I have a feeling that the people are gonna start getting pissed off and that's gonna happen. So it's gonna be a loss of revenue for every town in the end.
Mhm. Correct.
Because we don't have money for our roads or in our town, water went up, but we have money for this because to be exact, I think they spend in our town $36,000.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me that the money's going to that. And people, the people that are saying if you don't have anything to hide, you don't have anything to worry about. That's a really ignorant comment. That is untrue because 71% of the crimes they tried to solve via flock cameras have been wrong and involved innocent people, and a lot of them involve children in the car.
That's totally. I get that a lot, even in group from your local communities. I say you don't care until one of your family members gets pulled over, and then you'll care. So
Yeah.
why let it get to that?
AI is too new for this kind of technology. We weren't ready for it to be this big. And with most companies that grow this big so fast, they come down hard and they crash hard. And I'm hoping that's what the case is, but somebody else will invent a better version of it and it'll be another brand and we'll be going around in this circle forever. But if we allow this now, then what happens is what other rights, what other constitutional rights are we going to be allowed to be violated?
Yeah.
This isn't even about track and license plates, it's at a certain point. It's about the Constitution and what are they gonna take next? They're gonna take guns next? They're free speech?
Yeah, this is our Fourth Amendment. People seem to just forget about that. And then if it's like you said, they do that, then they'll come after everything else. So
That's
it's
right.
pretty pathetic for those people, ignorant people who
Mhm.
keep saying, you got nothing to hide. Yeah, I do. Because I don't want anybody to know my comings and going, period.
That's right. And, if you go to a bigger scale, right, it's a national security risk. This is technology that's not very encrypted. It's easily able to be hacked. What happens if Russia or China hack it? Then they get to see the patterns of our traffic, where our population is most, where there's more children. And Flock does deny it, but what they're saying is the next wave of it is they're gonna be able to read your facial structure and know who you are in the car. So who's in your car, what children are in your car. They are gonna know exactly who you are based on AI facial recognition. That
Yeah.
is invasion of your privacy. And then who's gonna have it hacked? China, Russia, any of our enemies can have this.
Yeah, and it just even ingrown because if you have enemies even in your own town, they could find your pattern how
Mhm.
you move around. It's not cool at all. Now, my only other thing aside from getting them gone, hopefully, is that all that knowledge, where does it go and who stores it? Because even if they come down the data has to be stored somewhere.
Mhm. So that's one of the reasons why we need all these data centers is because there are billions of pictures taking per day, billions per day. Every time a car goes past one, that image is taken. So no thumb drive is gonna hold billions. You need a data center. And then on top of that, they claim this data is only held for 30 days. I don't believe that for a second. Not one
No.
chance do they just get rid of that data after 30 days. No chance. So that data needs to be stored somewhere. That's going to be stored in a data center coming to you soon.
Yeah, I know. That's another topic for another show. How do you feel about those data centers?
Nope. They need to go.
No?
We don't need them. What do we need to do with all that data? You're right, it's a totally another topic for another show, but why do we need all that data, and why does it have to be stored, and why do we have to build these big, expensive data centers that steal resources from the community?
Yeah, I know that's another topic because I know people that are all for it because they're gonna pay some of the bills, especially electric. But I don't know how I feel about that. I guess that would be for another show because
Mhm,
yeah, it's so crazy how this AI is moving all over the place, and
mhm.
it's pretty scary. As far as the flock cameras, again, I think the only outcome with that is just getting rid of them, but they're not going to do it willingly, is what I'm thinking.
Some are, the question is, why aren't the ones after what we've seen, why aren't the ones that still have them getting rid of them?
Yeah, I
You
know.
know, Elgin's a huge town. They only have you talked about some. Elgin only has 19 flock cameras. They don't have them everywhere. Elgin is a big town with a big population. St. Charles, I believe, only has a small amount, and I believe they're the Kane County ones. I don't bel
Now, keep in mind, we have 6, but we're right next to West Dundee, East Dundee, and they don't have a reading on any cameras right now that I'm aware of.
They may not. There is a website called, deflock.org.
Yes, yes. I'm
Have
gonna
you
put it in our description when I edit this video because yes, that's how I found out that it's all over the place.
Yeah, and then so I've been on there, that tells you where all the flock cameras are, right? So, I found an interesting I was driving through Schaumburg, um, we were going to a dinner with somebody, and, um, I was looking where the flock cameras were. Now there was one patch. Schaumburg has so many flock cameras, but there was one patch of I think a 2.5 mile radius where people lived, a neighborhood was there. It was along, I wanna say it was 72,
Okay.
closer to the Hoffman Estates. There's a patch of, like, 2.5 miles or more where there is no flock cameras. I wanna know what decision maker lives in that area. Is it the mayor? Is it a police chief? Is it who lives in that area that was a decision maker on flock cameras that did not want a flock camera in that radius? Because it's if you look at deflock, there's a very big radius in Schaumburg where they're all over Schaumburg, right? But there's a circle, it's a whole circle where there's no flock camera. I find
Hmm.
it interesting. And if we
So I'm
look at
gonna look into that.
yeah, if we look at those patterns, there are around the heavy flock camera areas, you'll see a patch where there's no flock cameras. And I would bet a lot of money that if we look who lives in those areas, it's somebody with a sense of power that doesn't want them around.
Yep. And somebody with yeah, with power and influence, I should say,
Mhm.
that doesn't want them around, but it's okay for us, the peasants, to have it.
That's right.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot for coming. That's like I said, we'll probably talk about this some more.
Mhm.
And thank you for being here. I
Yeah,
I
thank you.
enjoyed this.
Yeah,
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Have a good one.
Okay.
See ya.
You too. Bye bye.